y'all, darkness falls on today's soap from Barrister and Mann.
It's a beautiful morning with the Barbershop Duet.
Hi, I'm Marcus Klinger with Klinger Vocal Studio.
And I'm Sarah Vincent with Sarah Vincent Virtual Pilates.
But on Wednesdays and Saturdays,
we are the Barbershop Duet.
Hey, y'all, come on in. It's so good to see you. Thank you for finding our little barbershop. And if you happen to be here during one of the live premieres, why, come on in the chat and join the Whiff Pack, a cool group of folks hanging out from all over the world. They'd love to meet you, too.
They would. And for our mention today, we wanted to show you our brush that we got from the season of the Witch Drop at Barrister and Mann's. This was made by Chisel and Hound, and it's so fun because they're all made by hand. You'll see them go by on the Shave of the Days, and everyone's look completely different.
Yeah, y'all, he just went out into the woods and found a bunch of sticks that were perfect, and he used epoxy on the knot. It's awesome. It feels like it's going to last a long time.
I'm excited.
And it lathers nicely, and it's fun for Halloween.
Yeah.
So, and let's meet the soap. All right, y'all, so from the sales page at barristerandmann.com.
Anyone who's been there will tell you that in New England, autumn is the best time of year. The trees turn vivid colors, the weather becomes perfectly brisk, and the apple and corn crops are harvested and made into all kinds of wonderful foods to enjoy. The scent of wood smoke fills the air, and fallen leaves litter the ground, crunching pleasantly underfoot wherever you go. It's a wonderful time, and at the center of it all is the cider mill.
Cider mills are incredible places. The smell of apples suffuses the walls, and a wood fire usually burns in the corner. Trays and trays of apple cider donuts fill the tables and the counters next to the crafts of hot cider and coffee. The buildings smell wonderful, and we wanted to capture that smell in soap form. Y'all, I'm excited because I don't think this is going to be like a Norman Rockwell version of this cider mill. I think it's going to have some realistic nooks and crannies hiding under the surface, and maybe some of that delightful Barrister and Mann mystique.
Right, or maybe even a little more New England side to autumn, maybe.
Right, hey, so let's unbox it!
I'm very proud of myself. I think I figured out where the tape grooves are going to actually open this time, so we don't have to rip it open.
For Barrister and Mann, packaging is very important, and they always do an awesome job.
I forget they have the flap on their boxes, and sometimes it's a mess. So let's see. Oh, yes.
Yeah, you got it. I love it.
This is how it came.
Ooh.
Let's see. Here. Oh, check this out. Wait.
Oh, yo, it looks like we have got a note. Thanks for your purchase from Paula. Thank you, Paula. That's Will's mom.
Look at. I don't know if we want to smell this.
What?
Hold on.
What'd they do?
Lavender interrupted.
I'm sorry, what?
Lavender, geranium, cinnamon, patchouli, cedar, anise, musk, oak moss, vanilla, hay, civet, sandalwood, hovewood, plum, clove, MDS, leather, tobacco, incense, vetiver, seaweed, and amber. I don't know what just happened, but that's a lot.
Civet and hovewood. Will, what have you done?
I don't know.
I want to smell this right now. Is this going to be a shave soap?
I don't think so. I mean, well, we don't have it in the house
yet. We don't know. Hold on. All right, y'all, so we have another Barrister and Mann waiting on the piano. We're going to check with Will and Paula and make sure this is not an upcoming shaving soap and we're not about to ruin an episode. So look for this as a future mention. But thank you, Will. This is so exciting.
Oh,
all right.
That's so sweet.
And there it is.
Wow.
I love the label.
I didn't even realize. I don't know if I even saw this label go by.
Wow.
That is a fun time warp. There's some colored. It's almost like it's watercolored in.
I know, it's like a lithograph and then watercolor or something like that.
Friends.
Wow.
And the lovely side label action.
Y'all, if Barrister and Mann promises anything, it is an awesome and a wild ride ahead. Let's strap in and have a first impression. I think I want you to take your nose.
You do? Oh, I was going to shove it in your
ask this
face.
a question. I want to watch your face when you take this off.
I am thoroughly intrigued because sometimes apple is just assumed to be a sweeter thing.
Right.
But then with all the other stuff like the dark damp leaves and that kind of thing, that could go real dark at the same time.
Right, and if I'm getting to know Will's nose, he is equally great at bringing you the lights and the familiars as well as the spooky underpinnings of certain bass notes. So I'm excited with my piano.
Every soap is a new fun adventure at Barrister and Mann, I must admit. And we just were at Season of the Witch, so now fall is here, y'all.
Season of the Witch, and we had Paganini's violin, which is clean skin out of the shower. All right, well, let's see what we've got when we take this one in.
Okay. I'm intrigued.
It's always a smooth pour on the Barrister.
Oh,
there
yes,
it is.
there's our smooth pour. Okay.
Ooh, all right, I'm closing my nose.
Going
Take it
in.
in.
Wow.
Yeah? What? Wait, whoa.
It's definitely more a transportive soap.
That was not a, like, slightly scared wow. That was, I'm impressed wow.
It's right on the cusp of, like, I feel like I am back in, like, a kind of an old town where, you know, you can smell the buildings and, like, the wood has that dampness in them, like almost log cabin-ish. Yeah. But that's just, like, the older kind of style going on. Like, I feel like I could have just jumped into, like, Sleepy Hollow set. Wow. Like movie scene or something. Like there's just something of like that older, calmer way of living, like a much simpler time. Which, you know, if you look here, I know. That's what you're seeing.
I want to go to there.
And it really does take me there.
Nice.
So the apples are there, but they are not an apple in the way we've had them before. Oh. So the cider mill smoky apple side is definitely more of the prominent part that I'm catching. Not, you know, like we get apple a lot where it's more crisp or it's more the cider like or it's been cooked. Yeah, exactly. Something's happened to it. This, I feel like I can smell the cider, but it's masked in tons of smoke that's whirling around it.
How sweet is it?
I think that's what I'm trying to figure out because it's not, I know it's apple, but it's not like a gourmand, take a bite out of the apple. Okay. It is more like a cider. Oh, but
like a stewed apple?
I guess if that could be a thing. Right. I don't smell like the sweeter sugars that happen. It's almost like it's been cooked down. So that the sweeter side of the apple has actually been tamed a little bit.
Right. So we've got apple, smoke. We've got a little bit of the building. What else are you getting?
And I think the damp leaf part, not like a petrichor thing at all, but more that deeper dampness. It's not like what's in Season of the Witch. Oh, that took me into like the darker woods vibe. Right. It's not that broomsticky kind of a thing. Yeah. This is definitely more the damp leaves, not necessarily the soil under the leaves. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Like if you're raking up the leaves and you get the damp dirt with has the wormies in it, it's not that. It's more of the actual multicolored leaves that have the morning dew that have kind of just been sitting on them over time.
Is there one prominent note or is it all pretty much a balance?
You know, I think when we lather it up, whatever I say right now is going to be taken away because there's so many things swirling in this. If I'm smelling for the smoke, that is my key in. If I want to smell the sweet crispness of the apple, that stays with me through the whiff. But behind all of that is the woodsy, damp, kind of time travel-y part that's happening for me. So that's there throughout the whole scent, I think.
All right, I am ready for this. Oh, I am sorry. I almost forgot to ask. Does it have the Barrister and Mann mystique that I think only Adagio is completely devoid of?
I want to say yes, or it's intentionally been turned up a little.
Yeah?
In the best way that there's something that escapes into like a light creamy woods or spices. Like there's something else that's in the air. Maybe it's the bakery next door, but it's not the sweet side. It's that spice that's happening.
I think it's Will's signature. I think it's his olfactory signing of the bottom right-hand corner of that canvas. There is just this beautiful little mysterious scent note in many of the Barrister and Mann soaps, and I love it.
I think I'm only listing the things that my nose recognizes because I think there's like 4 or 5 things in here that I don't particularly know as well.
And we did not re-review the scent notes.
But they're creating the vibe and the time, like for me to just escape and go on that little time warp into this quiet little town where they're just hustle and bustle of things that are happening. You know?
Well, pretty sure they allow dogs, so that's good. All right,
it
here
is.
we
You're
go.
welcome, Lynn.
Taking it in.
We did have our first rain yesterday. I feel like fall is finally here. And smelling this...
Oh, y'all. As far as the Barrister and Mann scents go, this is beautiful. It's friendly. It's on the sweeter side. For me, the mystique has been turned down ever so slightly. This is more of your Adagio crowd-pleasing line of soaps. Well, Adagio also being slightly gourmand, having a little bit of that cherry limeade sense in there. This has got the apple cider sense in here. Oh, but it's there. The mystique is there. Don't get me wrong. But it's not as prominent as in like Season of the Witch or Hollows. I get a beautiful smell of humidity. And then a sense, you're right, not of earth, not of hay.
No.
And not of petrichor, but maybe the dried leaves before the rain has hit. Because the rain, that first rain of the season, is what releases the petrichor oil. But before that rain comes, you've got this beautiful dried leaf smell that's the beginning of autumn. So maybe this is an early summer into autumn scent. Ooh, Ooh, Lord, Lord. Hold on.
Yeah, that's only the first foot in the door. There's a lot more happening.
Oh, and then the apple is clicking with something creamy and deep in the bass, so that you almost don't get a sense of the melody because those bassy notes are so vibratory down there.
It keeps it from getting too sweet, too bright.
Right,
yeah.
right. But I like that.
Yes, it's fall.
Right, and it keeps it of a sense of like walking in the cider mill when it's not completely hustle and bustle. So like maybe a couple of hours after it's shut down for the night or for the weekend, right? So that you're not getting anything too prominent that's cooking right over there.
Right.
But you're kind of taking in, like you said, the ground and the
evidence.
walls and the apple and the spices. Okay, hold on. And then for sure the building. But there's just, you know what's funny? Very often we see mildew as a scent note. And boy, is it alluring. Now, there's not a mildew note in here, but there is something that's aging the walls in a very natural way. So that wood is not just wood. It's got there's a line that Jessica Lange says in the Feud miniseries of it has the sweet smell of Ross. So I think that's it. I think there is just this beautiful sweet smell of age to the place, right?
Right. That's why I said it kind of reminded me of the set of Sleepy Hollow. If that could have a smell, like the wood is darker because of all the years of the dampness that's in that side of town, you know?
And then there is a tiny little floral, but just enough to add sweet. I don't think you'd know it was there.
I think that's one of my mystery ones I didn't get. Yeah.
A lot. So when we look at
Good
notes,
note.
we'll see.
I'm curious. Yeah.
That, and then, hold on. Y'all, the apple is so beautiful and soft. It borders on pear.
I can see
for
that.
me, and I'm getting like the meat of it. So I don't get like the crispy skin. I get like the soft meat of like apple / pear. Like that's kind of what's coming through in this for me. And you know, as far as scents go, it's lighter. It's brighter. It is sunlight. I don't get anything tobacco-y. I don't get anything patchouli-y. There is very little under the surface here. This is all those streaming rays of sunlight of that sun in autumn in that last hour of daylight.
Yep.
That's the sense of this. It's not shadowy. It's not dark. I thought this would be more of a kind of a Halloween-y kind of scent.
Yeah.
No, this celebrates the lights. If somebody walks past you with this, you're just going to get those beautiful beiges and whites and pinks of the apple and maybe a little bit of a tan of the cider itself. But that's as dark as this goes.
I just get that, you know, like the day is almost at an end, which fall, you know, the sun goes down a lot earlier.
Golden hour.
So it's something like that. Like you can tell that's coming, but it's not quite dark outside.
And you can tell by the way I use my walk. I'm a woman's man. No time to talk. All right, y'all. So we are going to build a lather with this spectacular Barrister and Mann base in Sarah's Barrister and Mann bowl. She wanted a little place to keep her brush while she was in the bath, and this has a brush holder built right in.
It does. And I liked how bright it was. Sometimes you just need something a little bright and colorful to make you smile.
And it's got some ridges on the bottom of the bowl so that you can push the soap into it like that. And then here at the Barbershop Duet, we do what's called a vertical bloom. Sarah's going to demonstrate this for you just like that. We're going to spray the soap, but then we're going to let the water travel down to the bottom of the bowl and just hang out for a second. So basically just wetting the soap. And then we're going to bring our dry brush, our dry bristles into contact with that wetted soap, and it's going to start to make its way onto the bristles. Now, the patented Barbershop Duet brush spin. What you do is you go one way, you go backwards, and then turn the brush about a quarter turn in the hand. It presents the bristles in a new orientation to the soap itself. And then we're going to turn the brush again, do it again. So we're loading all of that soap up into the bristles of that brush before we get too much water involved. Then, when there's about 20% of the soap left in the bottom of the bowl, this is the sloppy fun part. We're going to go down for the water at the bottom real slow, let it soak into the bristles, and then we have got a brush ready for a perfect face lather or ready for a phenomenal bowl lather. And there it is, y'all, right there.
This brush is a lot softer, so to get it out of the grooves takes a little extra focus. But I do like having that variation on our synthetic knots, that some of them are a little more dense, some of them are a little lighter. So I really do like the lightness that this one has.
And you know what I love? I like Will's nose because it has a sense of adventure. There are these scent notes in this that are going click, click, click. But somehow there's one that stands alone. It does not have a click. And I am not sure what it is, but it sits as the gatekeeper in the very middle of this whole balance. And it's kind of what lets you into the different senses. But I'm Not sure
that's
what
why
that
I mentioned. I know there's something here. I don't know.
It might
It's
even be a
working,
little
but-
squinchy. You know, it might even have a little bit of a edge to it.
And it's just one of those things that makes me feel like I'm at some place new that I haven't
Right,
been before.
right.
There's something new there for my nose to understand.
It's just delightfully slightly sour, maybe in the middle.
Oh, that could be it. Just a little slightly, like there are parts of fall that are scary.
Right.
There are those
Right.
darker days.
Right.
There's something in that coming through.
And there are parts of this apple that are very familiar and parts that really aren't. I love that. All right, how is that looking? Wow, y'all.
It's kind of all living in the brush here, but it's coming out. This
Right.
brush is hogging it all, but see what you think here.
Somewhere Count Barbasol is spinning in his grave. All right, y'all, this is something you will only find here in the Barbershop Duet. This is The Apple Doesn't Fall Far from the Tree Whiff. On 3, 1, 2. Here we go. Pass it over. Oh.
It's a little lighter here, right?
And that little squinchy thing in the middle is kind of gone.
Turn
It's
down a
kinda
little.
like blending in with the other side.
Yeah, with the leaves or something going on. Maybe the woods that are happening
This
in there.
is wild. And y'all, let's have a grown-up conversation. If I am ever having the kind of day where I just don't want to deal with it, I don't want to experiment, I don't want to see what's possible, I just want to have a trusty, great shave, I will reach for a B&M lather very often on those days because, y'all, this is as absolutely no nonsense as it gets. It stays right where you put it. It is thick, it is sticky, and it doesn't go anywhere. And the razor becomes absolutely fearless doing its ice skating on top of this snowpack here.
Alrighty, let's see. Okay.
Y'all, what else do you need? Look at that. Right?
I feel like I really am somewhere different. Like
Right.
I have been to a whole new time and place that I haven't been before.
Right.
Like there's scents in here that are creating that vibe. Like
Right.
what the label looks like, I feel like those scents I could see in this picture.
There's just that good neighbor feeling inside of this, you know? I love that he's somehow captured that in the soap. It's very friendly.
So speaking of friends, I should see how many friends are hanging out in this little town we got going on here.
All right, Mouseketeer roll call. Let's see the set note. Okay, back to the sales page of Barrister and Mann.
Leaves are changing, things are happening that we don't get here.
After long experimentation, we blended the scents of apples, newly fallen leaves. So you're right, it's not petrichor, it's just the fallen leaves.
It's that lighter color somehow, but you know that they're not on the tree.
Right.
There's a difference.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, like a dead leaf, a leaf that has turned. So
Right.
it has kind of that hay
Starting to dry.
quality to it, but not the moist quality of when the rain comes.
Right, exactly.
And then wood smoke. Wait a minute, hold on.
I definitely get that. That almost, and apples is what I got my first whiff.
Yeah, it's almost like a birch tar kind of
something
a smoke.
different.
And then
Benzoin
Yes.
and the faintest touch of cinnamon to create a slightly smoky, faintly spicy, wonderful scent, perfect for the crisp clear of autumn.
I don't know how he did this, but the cinnamon doesn't touch the apple at all. The cinnamon's like in the air, and
like
the
the
apple
woods.
is way over there.
Yeah, they're not.
That's wild.
I knew I was getting a spice, but it was almost to me. I think the benzoin and the cinnamon were almost connecting with the smoky, maybe.
Right.
Like and becoming their whole new different scent. I knew there were spices, but I would not have picked cinnamon. Let me just say.
Love that. And then I do get the smoke, but I don't get it as like the smoke in the air of burning leaves. I do get it as like a tar kind
Right.
of thing. Which
Or
is
I
lovely.
actually can. I feel like the machines that are making stuff at the cider
Right.
that have smoke coming from them,
Right.
like or like the wood burning stoves that are making things. Something in there. It's just a constant in the air. I don't think it. Like when you're in the area, it's just part of that cider mill has that smoky vibe with it.
faintly spicy. I love that because it is. It does have almost like a chili pepper, like a hot spice to it somehow in the middle of this.
But again, I don't think my first guess would have been cinnamon, which is kind of fun.
Right.
However it's being used is completely different.
This does have an outdoor feeling too. So like when we would load up the car and go up to Apple Hill, which is near here, everything's outside.
Yeah.
Like you don't go in the cider mill. The cider mill's kind of small. Everybody's kind of gathered around all the picnic benches and umbrellas and stuff that surrounds it, right? Everybody's kind of wandering through the orchards, picking their own apples and things like that. So you put on your boots. You're ready for an outdoor adventure. And this has that.
You can smell that. It's different. Benzoin does come from a tree, but it has kind of like a vanilla-ish vibe to the smell.
Yes.
So maybe that's part of the thing that's going into the cinnamon as well.
Y'all,
I don't know.
That's what it is, y'all. That's that beautiful tug of war. You've got the apples over here, you got the benzoin over here with a little vanilla, and you got the cinnamon up here. So the cider is existing like this, but they don't come together. And y'all, we're gonna follow these leaves all the way down and take y'all a little deeper. This is a great scent to wear on days when you can finally sense the summer starting to give way to autumn. And here in the San Francisco Bay, we get those days like crazy. All of a sudden, there is no more humidity in the air. All of a sudden, there's no more heat coming off the ground. All of a sudden, the earth just tells you things are starting to change. And when that happens, especially if we had the kind of hot summer we had around here, your body begins to rejoice because it knows that relief from all that summer heat and all that summer work is coming to an end. And those days, for me, are to be highly celebrated. I broke out from under glass our Sterling Pumpkin Spice this year on September 1 because we had just got back from a camping trip on the surface of the sun up in Red Bluff where it was 102 all day with no electricity. And am I making my point? So on those days when you can literally feel autumn arriving and you can hear the faintest sound of sleigh bells way off in the distance, those are the days I like to celebrate most. And this is that perfect late summer, early autumn scent to bring that day into fruition for me.
Right? And I do feel like it's a different type of fall than we get here.
Yeah.
Like there is something in the scents that are making this whole New England side come through.
Right.
Where I feel like this is the type of fall we would love to be enjoying. We still have a little more sun hanging out around here.
You don't come here for the foliage. No, you have to go there. This is that set. This is that set of being in a different part of the country. Not the world maybe, but a different part of the country. Different kinds of trees, different kinds of sunsets, different kinds of spices and woods on the breeze. Right?
Like our leaves are falling off the trees. There is a little dampness, there is a little coolness, but we are missing those other little elements that only can happen in that type of town, you know?
And you know what's nicest about this, y'all? Apples can get super sweet, super fast, right? This is in such a balance that if you had to walk into like court as a judge or a lawyer, if you had to like walk into court, you would not get the sense that this is too sweet or that you're wearing something that is a little bit beyond the business getting done of that day. There is something uber masculine and functional in this. It does not get to the whimsical side of apple. This stays in the real, earthy, beautiful, stewed part of apple. To where if somebody walked by me wearing this, I wouldn't be like, oh, nice apple. I'd be like, oh, did you just drink a nice cup of cider? It was just like that kind of a sense to it.
And there's a nice tug of war with this scent because right where the apples and things seem like they're going to get sweeter, the smoke and the other benzoin and other things almost pull it back down to earth a little. So there's still, it's still an outdoor scent to me. It's not a cologne. 100%. It's not a gourmand.
That was my point.
It's a vibe. It's got that darker fall tones in there.
The opposite of the blend of like a Ralph Lauren kind of thing. These are real shaving soap world scent notes that have been put together so that your brain keeps traveling that triangle between the apple, the cinnamon, the spice, the benzoin, the vanilla, the smoke, the wood, the place, the leaves. And that swirling is not something that fine colognes give you. It is something you can only find in this wet shaving world right now for us. And Will, Paula, socks are blown completely off. It's amazing my pants are still on. This is fantastic stuff. And I love that this has the Barrister and Mann signature, but still was so different for me. Completely unexpected how good this was.
It's fun, though, for our people that like transportive soaps. I'd put this in that category. I do get a vibe, but to me, it's taking me somewhere in time or in place like that's just undeniable. One of our friends had said, I think I would put it in a similar category as I would put autumn ash. And we had that last year around this time, which I get how they're similar. They're from two different painters, but it's a similar vibe of the darker, damper sides of fall. Like that season is there. And where that one goes a little more caramely, butter, like more the party in town, this one goes more the apple side to me.
And you know, I have heard that too, that this is a bit of an autumn ash, but you know what's funny? For me, I smell autumn ash weekly. I love that stuff. I didn't even get a sense of that in this.
Ah, interesting. Okay.
Totally different for me. And I'm not sure. I think for me, autumn ash is not scared to dig. Autumn ash will go down into the soil. Autumn ash will get those dark undertones for the base notes, where this stays mid-level and above. You're not getting anything even as dark as tobacco in this. But for me, autumn ash has got that earthy bonfire sense. It has all the underpinnings this does not. This wanted to stay more of the light, friendlier. The sun will not go down on you with this on.
Okay, that could be the one thing. It's not quite sunset yet.
Yeah.
Where autumn ash does have a little more of the nighttime.
Well,
in
maybe
the
that's
air
the
vibe.
bonfire. They have to burn it later.
Right,
So
there you
I
go.
can see that you would catch this on the way to autumn ash or maybe on the way back.
Okay, so for those who are trying to help translate the scent, that's all we got.
Yeah, not the same for me, but same for her.
If you were someone that just read the little blurb on the label here, it says apples, fresh leaves, wood, smoke, benzoin, and cinnamon. So that's just the streamline. And then it also says Nocturne for warmth and comfort. So there you go. Just little things to throw in there of the vibe they are creating.
The perfect 2 words to describe this. And it's pretty simple, y'all. Just be Isaac Newton, ready to discover gravity. Well, the apple's not actually going to fall into your head. It's going to fall from a tree onto the ground. But you're going to look at that and wonder, does the same force that draws the apple to the earth keep the moon in our orbit? And he's gonna get his own. So head over to barristerandmann.com to find this and a bunch of other cool stuff. Well, I've had my shave, y'all. With Nocturne, such a crowd pleaser for the Barrister and Mann crowd. I love how that Barrister and Mann mystique is showcased here. So the apple and the woods and the spices can sit on them in a slightly different way. What a beautiful, realistic cider mill this is, and I'm going to go back to it. Thanks, Will. Welcome to Messages.
So this is your last chance to get in on our November giveaway to win $20 to Murphy and McNeil.
Yeah, y'all, and to be eligible, all you have to do is send us an email here to WeSentYou at thebarbershopduet.com so that we can get back to you, and then check back here on November 30th to see if you are a lucky winner.
Best of luck! I love that even on the side label, it has a little apple just to remind you that there's a little leaf for the apple there.
I was like
it
why
is
is there
fall.
an accent over it? It's an apple leaf.
Yeah, it's just like a little touch of fall. Like, I feel like now coming back to fall, where we lean towards certain ones closer to the Halloween side,
Right.
this is going to be one of those ones that we lean to, like, before Thanksgiving's here,
Right.
but we know that it's approaching. Like, this 'tis the season for the fall scents.
Right.
That is
And
for sure.
Y'all, the more we are in this fragrance world and the more we learn to appreciate the crowd pleasers, the more our nose tends to crave sometimes those that do dive into the crazier scent notes. And boy, Barrister and Mann is here for all of it. Thank you, Will and Paula, not only for being 2 of our favorite people in this wet shaving world, but for making such great stuff and making it beautiful just to look at and unwrap from the very beginning. It's a special experience.
I'm excited. We have Promises coming up next. And
Sure
so we
do.
missed it last season, but it is on the piano waiting for us.
And
so
we can bring you glad tidings of great joy. Probably the most single requested soap in the history of our show is Vespers from Barrister and Mann. And we have secured a Vespers for the upcoming month of Christmas. So y'all stay tuned here.
there will definitely be more to come. Don't forget your next appointment with the Barbershop Duet.
You'll smell better just watching this.